Good evening and welcome to this week in review. Tonight's stories include update on the plant situation, Fire Department prize draw, BDDB report. These stories plus community events, the VBS Playbill, Off the Rack and more coming up after this.
It takes community to heal a village. In northern Mali, USC Canada works with local partners to find community-based ways to ensure mother-child health, food security, and jobs. Canadian agencies are helping to renew and strengthen communities throughout the developing world. This means greater opportunities for global villagers. Canadians in partnership, finding solutions that work.
On Tuesday of this week, we had an interview with members of the Plant Committee who traveled to Corner Brook and had a meeting with Mr. Bill Barry. In our studio today, we have with us Cyril Warren, George Reed, Greg Illiard, and Alistair, and they're going to give us an update on the meeting that was held on Monday with Bill Barry. Gentlemen, maybe we could start with who went to the meeting and who they represented. Cyril, you want to tell us?
So I went on behalf of the FFAW, local representative.
And I went on behalf of Town Council.
Myself and John Gren went on behalf of the BDDB.
Okay. Do you think that this meeting came about with Mr. Barry after the public meeting we had and as a result of what they decided to do to keep the meal plant closed? Do you think that was the result?
Well, it's quite possible that could be the result, but I think one would have to, if you come to that conclusion, you're speculating, but it probably was. It probably was, but again, I would be speculating if I say that.
Okay. So do you want to tell us what transpired at the meeting?
Do you want me to go with the letter, George?
Yes, I think Mary Ann probably should read the facts that he received from Mr. Barry today.
Evening, Will. I didn't attend the meeting on Monday. If some of you think I didn't lie to you on Sunday night. However, this morning I did get a fax from Mr. Barry. It was addressed to me, and Councillor Reid, who is the spokesperson for this committee as far as I know, invited me to come along tonight and read the letter which Mr. Barry faxed to the Burgeo Town Council. Yesterday, October 22nd, 2001, we all gathered in Corner Brook to discuss the potential future of the Burgeo operation. The only idea put forth and discussed that people felt had a reasonable possibility of success was the potential of turning Burgeo into a seal processing operation. The plant could produce primary processed seals, oil reprocessing, and complete tanning and dyeing of the finished seal skins to garment quality material. Currently, the Barry Group operates one such facility, that's known as Atlantic Marine Products at Catalina, Newfoundland. This operation employs 50 people full-time and an additional 50 people during seasonal peaks. For the Barry Group to proceed and have the confidence to reinvest in Burgeo by installing the necessary equipment to have a modern, efficient seal pelt processing facility, approximately $3 million, there are some preconditions which must be met. Now these conditions are: 1, the current partners in Falcon Seafoods have to agree on the disposition of this facility. This is important, as the Barry Group are not looking for partners to join in its seal processing business. 2, government would have to legislatively establish a processing requirement which would clearly require all sealskins landed in the province of Newfoundland must be processed to the garment stage before being allowed for export. 3, the Barry Group would need an undertaking from government that only the licenses which will be given to seal tanneries in the province of Newfoundland will be to the Atlantic Marine Facility in Catalina and the proposed new seal processing facility in Burgeo. 4, the Barry Group would require confirmation that its vessels fishing out of Corner Brook would have the same access to harvest seals as all other inshore vessels in Newfoundland. Currently, it is only the Barry vessels which are restricted from this harvest. If these preconditions are met, the Barry Group would be prepared to invest its own capital in a seal processing operation in Burgeo which would be allocated 50% of all the seals processed in Newfoundland, or the same equal share as Atlantic Marine Products in Catalina. In a normal year, when the harvest exceeds 200,000 animals, this will provide a guarantee of 50 full-time jobs and an additional 50 seasonal jobs during the peak processing period. I do not believe that any of the items above are insurmountable, and I feel that if we all work together to achieve their successful completion, that we will be able to see the fish plant in Burgeo reactivate to create long-term work for the community. I look forward to working with you. I look forward to working with all of you to make this proposal a reality. Regards, William F. Barry. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'll leave it to the committee to debate it and explain what everything means in that letter.
Okay, would somebody, is that what the meeting was about, basically?
Yes, that was basically the idea that was put forward by Barry and his group there yesterday. They now the number one there on that precondition about the current partners. He said that he himself was going to look after that part of the deal. And the fourth thing that the mayor read out there about the fishing vessels, he wanted to have fishing vessels to harvest seals. Now that was supposed to be something that he was looking at in the future, not as an immediate thing. So I don't think that the first two would stop this project from going ahead. And according to what he was saying yesterday. Now he has them all listed here, but according to when he was expanding on them yesterday, talking about them, these two weren't highlighted as precondition. It was the other two that had to be met, and these two, of course, were responsibility of government. Now, Calvin Parsons, your MHA, he was there yesterday at the meeting, also, and he listened to everything, of course, from his point of view, and asked questions in relationship to that interested him according to what government would want to know. And he promised us and promised Barry that he was taking it back to the government to talk to Jerry Reed and the fishery minister, and also to talk to the premier about it. And then, of course, to take it to cabinet if it had to go to cabinet. And I think the next thing was that if they really needed some input from Mr. Barry at this time, then they would also get him to attend a cabinet meeting if it went to this stage and they recorded his input at cabinet. Now, this project, of course, is probably some people would say it's another pie in the sky, and of course we've been led down the garden path a number of times since we've been trying to get this plant open. There's no question about that. We feel that we've had the conditions to open the plant a number of times, and like I've said before, and like Mayor Han has said before, that we were very, very close quite a few times. Now this is a whole new kennel of fish that is proposing here. Now how successful we might be in getting this thing off the ground, I really don't know. I mean, I look at a glass as half full, or half empty. I would call it half full type of thing. I think the chances are there, and I think we have to go after it. It is a chance. Now, he did talk about the other things. As far as he knows, he said he could open the plant tomorrow for crab if there was crab, but nobody's given me any crab. And there's no indication that he's going to get crab. If there were lots of shrimp given out, then he'd probably could do something for Burgeo if he was given addition quota for Burgeo for shrimp. And of course, there's no shrimp on the go. The ground fish, according to him now, that when he signed a cancel Burgeo deal, there was 19,900 tons of ground fish that was in that deal. Now that deal, he told us there's three, that translates to something around 41 million pounds of groundfish. And saying right now, off that, he's got 3.2 million pounds of groundfish this year. That's his quota. So the groundfish quota is gone. The underutilized species, you've lost the ability to use that as trade. The government has taken that away. And I think he said the redfish quota, I believe he said he had 1.3 million pounds of redfish that he was taking into quarter bass and cancel. The other guys can comment on anything that I've screwed up here in relationship to numbers. But that's how I remember him. Now, he's pretty confident that this thing can work, and he's pretty confident that it would give 50 full-time jobs for all year round, and the part-time jobs it would run between 50 to 80. That's what's happening in Carolina, between 50 and 80. Now, last year in Carolina, they did approximately 105,000 seal pelts. Right from the taking them off the seals to processing, tanning them to be made into coats and caps and everything else that you make, products that you make from seals. And he found that the plant was working to pretty much full capacity. And so this is what he's looking for Virgil, approximately the same type of quota. Now the last year the seal quota didn't all get caught, according to him, or killed, whatever you want to call it, getting seals. He got 105,000, and he said the other company that operates at a Delta got 80,000 pelts. Now that's a Norwegian company that's been in Delta, I think, for about 40 years. And what they do, they take the seal pelts and they just salt them. They collect them in Delta, salt them, and then they transfer them to, or transport them to Norway to be tanned. And this is why the number, whatever the number was, number 3, I think it was, that he wants government to bring in legislation so that all the seal pelts in Newfoundland, that's harvested in Newfoundland, will be carried through their final stage, that is, through their garment stage. And of course, that would pretty much eliminate taking them back to Norway.
Did he indicate any time frame as to when this could be done?
Yes, well, of course, what he said, there's a fast time frame, and I guess there was a slow time frame. If everything can be met that he has here, it's quite possible you could start harvesting the spring, start doing it in the spring. But Rich Carter, who was one of his top fellows here, said you're probably looking at a year, 12-month time. So I guess you're looking at anywhere between spring and 12 months.
So that's if all the conditions that he asked
That's,
for is
well,
met.
I guess if the conditions can't be met, if government says, if government comes back and say, look, we can't do this, then I guess it's not doable. So we're back to stage 1.
So did he, is this the last kick of the can? Is this it? Does Bill Barry have any ideas other than this?
Well, he says no. He says he's got no ideas. Of course, he asked us if we have any, and of course we're not into the fishing business, so we don't have any ideas. Could bulldoze the plant off the reach. Well, that's one idea probably we would all go along with. But no, he says, the crab, you got no problem with doing crab, but it's not there. Nobody won't give it to them, and so on and so forth. It's just not there. But this seal thing, he says, is a possibility. It's doable.
Okay. Greg, do you have any comment that you'd like to make concerning the VDDB and development on that perspective?
No, I think, I must say yesterday there was a very frank and honest discussion with Mr. Barry. He did educate us somewhat to the point of saying, and I certainly have a little bit of faith in the man. I think if there's anybody in Newfoundland that knows the fishing industry in a way to get a quota or know there's available quotas out there, it would be the Barry Group. And he did, as George said, go down through a bunch of scenarios, and at the end of the day he said, look, my idea is the seal tannery. He spent about 6 years and about $8 million developing this process he has. It's finally working in Catalina, and he feels that the markets are very strong and the potential is there. And of course, with the the seal resource itself, it's this day and age, everybody says that the resource is unlimited. There's millions and millions out there. He has lobbied, by the way, to get an increase of the seal harvest. He had that. He partook in that in terms of the federal avenue and managed to get the increase. So I think the gentleman is genuinely to the point of saying if there's something to be done in Burgeo without major influence or having to go to Ottawa and look for quotas and other species, then this is it. And here's the opportunity. And, we had to try and avail of that, I guess, in some way, shape, or form at the end of the day. It's obviously working in Catalina. We haven't had a chance to talk to people up there. But he did have some of these major people around the table yesterday with us that run the Catalina plant that are involved in that industry. And from all appearances, it also seems to be very successful. I will say one thing, that compared to other times that different groups have met with Mr. Barry, the bar's not raised this high at this point in time, as opposed to some of the other things that were put on the table. And it will be up to government. The other thing we did talk about yesterday, when you have this Norwegian company coming in, there's not only, I guess, provincial aspects that could be affected by what Mr. Barry's requesting, but certainly there could be international considerations as well. We all know what's going on with the shrimp and the 20% tariff. What will be the repercussions of that? And of course, the other thing that will have to be looked at right now, even though it's a Norwegian company, for the last 40, 50 years, they have been in Dildo. They have been employing people in that community, and there could be very well the risk of that community losing employment as well. So for us to gain on the backs of somebody else losing is certainly going to have to be something government's going to have to weigh out. But it certainly looks on the surface a potential opportunity. Our minister obviously well knows that it's in his ball court right now to try and move it forward, and he has, for her understanding. He's already talked to the minister and talked to a number of other people, and I think in the next little while, I think we'll see some activity one way or the other.
Okay. Did Mr. Barry indicate any financial support or aid from the government to help get this off the goal?
His big commitment was that if I get what's required from government to move this ahead, that he would do all the investment himself, period, bar none. And that included dealing with his present partners, with Falcon. And he did say to us yesterday, because people are saying, the situation, how did Falcon come about, and the Quinlan's dailies and whatnot. His philosophy, like he said to us yesterday, well, the reason why he brought in the two other partners was, number one, financial, and number two, instead of three of us out there fighting for this new quota, why wouldn't we join forces and get the quota between us? And that was really his philosophy. In this philosophy with the tannery, he's done it. It's his company, his business, and he doesn't really want any partners in there. He feels that his company's going to move the seal tannery operation on its own.
Okay. Cyril, the union, you went as the union representative now. How do you feel about this new idea that Mr. Barry has come up with for getting the plant open?
Well, I don't think Mr. Barry has got the bear shot too early this time, But after he invested millions of dollars into the fish plant over to set it up for a crab plant, and he was told by government officials that he would get a crab quota outside 200 mile limit, and this didn't happen. And after doing all this, well, naturally enough, that he's a businessman, so he's not going to invest millions of dollars back into Burgeo again unless he gets some commitment from government that this was going to happen this time, right? So I do think that this is doable, and I think that I'm looking forward to the local union there and the provincial executive to go along with this deal any way possible.
Okay. Mr. Ian, do you have anything you'd like to?
Well, I just take a minute and give a recap as I saw the 4 points. Number one, about the partners. Well, I think Barry is quite capable of getting rid of Quinlan and Quinlan and Daly, so I don't see that being a stumbling block. Number two, government legislation. I can't, as far as having the finished product done in Newfoundland. I mean, this has been the cry from Newfoundland forever to have a finished product. We shouldn't be exporting the raw product, so I can't see that being a hang-up. Number three, as far as the monopoly on the seal tanning thing, I can't see if I'll say the others are that one would hold Mr. Barry up, because having the tannery, as far as I'm concerned, one in Catalina already, then have him jump with the second one in Burgeo, even if he doesn't get the monopoly from government. As far as I would view that, he's got the monopoly anyway. Yeah, I can't really see where he needs the legislation from government for that one. Number four, which I'm told is not in there, which is the one about having his own boats fishing seals. If that one is a condition, that is the biggest stumbling block. That is the one that scuttled the crab. I think you'll find Anstey and McCurdy will be the real fly in the ointments there, because that would break the fleet separation policy. It was the fleet separation policy which killed the crab. Make no mistake about that. And I think everybody can work with the government. That's the provincial government. I think what's needed from the provincial government we're probably going to get when it comes to that bigger government, which is called union. I'm not so sure.
I think one thing probably to say in terms of that number 4 too, and we have called Mr. Barry for clarification, because at our meeting yesterday, we point blankly asked him, was the number 4 condition, which was involvement in the harvesting, a prerequisite for this moving on, and he said no. He said all I would require is support from Burjo and the different organizations in the community and the people around that table to lobby to see if I could get it. So we've actually asked him for clarification. We're hoping tomorrow we're going to get that, because from our discussions with him yesterday it wasn't. And Marie, I guess just to say one other thing, Minister Parsons yesterday, and kind of oversight on our part, I guess, you know, discussed this whole issue of the license down here and the steel tannery. And he did pose a question to Mr. Barry that if he managed to get the processing facility for the tannery, would he be willing to basically let somebody else access the core license to move in with things like the groundfish and other things that are happening in the community? And categorically, on paper, Mr. Barry said he would not hesitate at all. He would give other people access. So that kind of would open up for maybe smaller operations to be able to come in here and do things like the mayor's been talking about for years, being able to get the raw resource in this community and actually do a small processing operation. So there is some positives there. And yesterday he did give us our word on that issue, and hopefully we'll be able to take them up on that if this thing moves forward.
What we asked him about there, of course, was that, you know, if he got into the seal tanning business in Burjo, well, he's still got a core license for groundfish, and you know, would he give that license up so somebody else could process the groundfish here? And he said he had no problem with that. And of course, I think people have already heard that he's given up his license, or he's allowing his license to be used for the sea urchins. So, you know, he's willing to do this stuff to create more employment in Burjo. And I probably gotta say something about the fish meal plant, whether you've got a question there or not in relationship to the fish meal plant again. We asked him that, you know, would any of this contingent on the fish meal plant remaining open? And he said no, it didn't remain on the, didn't have any bearing on that. He said, but he said, if you're going to close it down, he says, you know, gave us a number to phone. He said, because didn't want to send Hoffels down here and have to bring them back up. So he gave us a number to phone. I think his brother operates that part of the business. And he also said that he has 2 dumping permits. He said he's allowed to dump offals. Now where he dumps them, I don't know. But he does have 2 dumping permits. And that was verified by Minister Parsons, that he does have 2 dumping permits. So I just want to say that, you know, because I think there's a lot more weight that's being put on on this fish meal plant over here than probably it deserves, you know, in that respect.
Yeah.
You know.
So in essence, that if we do shut down the meal plant, we're not hurting Bellberry.
No, we're not hurting Bellberry.
No, not at all.
You know, just
Okay.
be far from the truth. You know, what we'd be hurting, of course, would be, you know, hurting ourselves in respect. We'd be losing 8 jobs.
Yeah.
Now, you know, now that's from what we said. Now, what you wanted to speculate, I don't know, because I mean, none of this stuff came about until the boys went up there and closed the road through the fish meal plant. You know, so it might have. I mean, and the board, he's not going to come out and tell us how important that fish meal plant is to him. And what, he's going to play it down? And, you know, I suppose so. But all I can say, and I suppose the rest of us there can say, is that what he said, you know, and that he does have 2 dumping permits, and he can dump his offals, you know, with these 2 dumping permits, and he's going to shut the plant's going to be shut down. I think it's around December the 1st. He said that's the time for shutting it down normally, anyhow.
He did also say, Marie, I guess, in that light, because obviously what started this whole situation was was a group of individuals that came down to start preparing for the hauling out of crab equipment. And he again reassured us yesterday that until such time as the seal issue is resolved, there will be nothing leaving that facility whatsoever. He gave us that guarantee as well. So I think from that perspective, I think that issue is settled at this point in time. And like Councillor Reid said to me yesterday, does that mean then the day you start hauling tannery equipment, then you can start hauling out your crabfish equipment? And they kind of chuckled about it. But I think on a serious note, he was pretty well to the point of saying, yeah, that's hopefully what's going to happen at the end of the day.
Now, this deal that you're talking about with the seals and the tanning of the hides and stuff, what can the individual do who's sitting at home watching this? Is there anything that they can do for their support? They can...
Not really, not really, because there's nothing that we as council or BDDB or the union, I don't think, because we haven't been asked to do anything except to lend support to him when he needs it, I guess, from the I suppose persuading government to come on side on certain issues, if that's got to be the case.
Okay.
Other than that, he didn't ask us for anything.
Okay. Is there anything else anyone else would like to add?
No, I think overall it's, I've been in a couple of meetings with Mr. Barry, and I must say yesterday, he's very charismatic and creative and certainly vocal individual, but yesterday, as far as his presentation and whatnot, it was very professional, very straightforward. He gave us the facts as they were, and we were really pleased at the end of the day, because as you know, representatives of BDDB went in the week before, and believe me, he was very animated over the whole process, and not the meal plant shutdown, but just the whole fishery altogether. And I think yesterday he certainly, between then and yesterday, he had the time, I think, to reflect and determine what could I really do that's also going to benefit his company, because we must remember at the end of the day, I mean, the gentleman is in business. He's in business to make a profit and survive, and that's the bottom line at the end of the day, whether we like it or not. And of course, if he survives, hopefully the community of Virgil will benefit through this initiative. So we're pleased to see that the bar, last thing but not least, wasn't raised as compared to some other times with some other things that happened to be put on the table.
Okay, well, we certainly...
I'd like to just say to the people that, right now we've got nothing. I'm cautiously optimistic, and if this comes to naught, we've lost nothing. And if it comes through, well, then I guess we've got something to gain. That's the only spin that I can put onto it. And again, like I said on Sunday night, I'll do what I can for the committee.
Okay.
As acting chair for the union, I think that at this present time that the mill plant should be left as it is, stay open, remain open until such time as all this can be straightened out. Well, it's going to be closed, like George said, around December the 1st, probably won't be all worn out by then. It won't be opened in before sometime in the spring. So the time then will probably just be all worn out, and the mill plant go on its way as it is now, because it's going to be very important to the CO tannery, to the mill plant.
Okay,
I might also say that the size of the processing area that he's talking about for the seals, this plant up here is about 80,000 square feet, and that's what he told us. And the one in Catalina is 51,000 square feet. And they are pitched for space in Catalina, so they require this total plant up here to do the seal operation.
Okay. So we certainly thank you, gentlemen, for coming down and informing the public about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
On Monday of this week, Fire Chief Glenn Ann stopped by our studios for some prize draws.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the fire department, we're going to make a draw for 4 draws for Fire Prevention Week. Our fire department members went around to Ingram's Foodland, Variety Quick Shop, and Pro Hardware, and they had some literature there for the public to have a look at or pick up. And while they were there, those people that took the literature, we put their names in the bag for a draw. We're going to draw on a cabinet latch and a smoke detector, an appliance lock and a smoke detector, a outlet plug-in and a smoke detector, and a VCR lock and a smoke detector. And we would like to thank those people that took part in fire prevention. Marie is going to make a draw now, make 4 draws for me. Marie, if you would, please.
Linda Anderson.
Linda Henderson. 115 wins this one.
Denise Ann.
Denise Ann, 2099.
Trifina Billard.
Trifina Billard. And one more. Bill Anderson won this one. We would like to thank the people that came to the stores and while they were there picked up literature from our fire department. Thank you for your participation.
Stay tuned for more of This Week in Review coming up after this.
Communication is the beginning of understanding, and understanding is the basis for problem solving. USC Canada believes communication should know no borders. A farmer's field in Ethiopia offers innovation for old problems in Nepal. A community seed bank in Bangladesh sparks ideas for one in Mali. All over the developing world, Canadians in global partnership, finding solutions that work.
We have a video from Operation Christmas Child. This video involves the shoe boxes. We hope you enjoy it.
Children of Canada love you very much. Merry Christmas.
More than 4 million. That's the number of shoebox gifts Samaritan's Purse collected and distributed worldwide through Operation Christmas Child this past year. That's more than 4 million little hearts touched by what has become the world's largest international Christmas project for children.
It's a special time to be able to demonstrate God's love. It's one thing to talk about God's love, it's another thing to show God's love in a tangible way. And the simple shoebox can demonstrate God's love in a unique way.
Operation Christmas Child has given shoeboxes to children in war zones, slums, to children living in the worst kind of poverty, and circumstances that will break your heart. For many children, it's the first time they've been given anything. And when they get that gift, open it, and realize that someone cared enough about them to give them something, the transformation is incredible. What's truly exciting is the fact that it's possible to present the good news of Jesus Christ even in cultures that don't traditionally celebrate Christmas. The pastors and members of the churches Operation Christmas Child works through are excited about this program because it gives them a very effective outreach tool.
This operation is a real blessing for us. We don't have all the resources to give to all the kids of the home, only if Samaritan Purse put their hand with my hands and we go together to present Jesus in this matter.
Gracias, Canada.
It's amazing to see how these gifts brighten the lives of those who have suffered so much. How wonderful to see a child's face light up and see the pain disappear. Operation Christmas Child has become a tangible example of God's love and hope, demonstrating how a simple gift can make a world of difference in a child's life.
We pray the simple gift will make a difference in their lives, that they might know the greatest gift, the precious love of Christ. There is laughter where all happiness had died, and where despair was,
Gracias. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, as you have seen, Operation Christmas Child has touched the lives of many children. And we've been able to do it in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Of course, at Christmas time, this is a time we celebrate the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And what better gift to give to a child is a gift in His name and be able to tell that child about the true meaning of Christmas. I hope this year you'll participate with Operation Christmas Child, that you'll get your family and friends and your schools and churches involved. And most importantly, we need your prayers. And I believe if everybody who gives a box prays for the box and for the person who's going to get that box, God will use us in a mighty way to win many of these children to His Son, Jesus Christ. Thank you. God bless you. And please, we need your help this year with Operation Christmas Child. I'm Franklin Graham.
Burgeo residents will have cell phone coverage sometime during the first part of November. During the past couple of weeks, new Patel employees have been busy working on installing equipment that will give Burgeo residents cell phone coverage. On Tuesday of this week, the workers were putting up switches at the tower located near the new greenhouse. This weekend, they hope to be in Ramia to install equipment over there. We were informed that we would only get cell phone coverage on the coast and maybe 10 to 15 kilometers on the Burgeo Road. We tried to contact Newtel to confirm the exact coverage we will receive, but were unable to reach them. This may not be what the Burgeo residents wanted in cell phone coverage, but it is a start. Greg Ellier, our development officer, stopped by our studio on Thursday of this week to give us an update on some of the projects that they are working on. In our studio with us today, we have Greg Ellier, our BDDB officer. Welcome once again, Greg.
Thanks for having me again.
Let's get right down to it. We got the clam development.
Yeah, I guess as the general public's well aware, earlier on, or the mid-September, there was a public meeting here that was hosted by Newfoundland Clam Farms in regards to their research and development license. At that public meeting, it was agreed that there was a number of things that Newfoundland Clam Farms had said that they would put on the table for us, and of course at that time we had a number of concerns. One was their overall business plan, how they were going to proceed to develop, because we've heard things, you know, they were going to start this summer and then again this fall, and we were wondering, you know, the financial picture and if exactly what was going to transpire there. So at that public meeting, they agreed that they would present a full business plan. It was also agreed that they would let an independent individual do an assessment of all of the research and development work that was done. And thirdly, they agreed to have an independent individual again do a biomass study of the clam flats, due to the fact that our board plus council had received numerous inquiries from individuals in the community saying that there's major things happening in the clam flats, and that there was a question whether or not the resource was there. So at the end of that public meeting, it was agreed that we would meet again, develop a process, and our responsibility was to do a terms of reference for this independent review. We didn't want to see any of their documentation. It was basically going to be done by a private individual, if you want, separate from everybody, and everything was going to be held in confidence. And all they would do is report back to council and the BDDB the nature of the resource, the existing resource at the clam flats, and of course, you know, whether or not the research and development work was pertinent and of course valid, because nobody's really seen it. And at the same time, Newfoundland Clam Farms was to present to us a business plan. So we agreed that we would meet again. Representatives from the town and the BDDB drove to Stephenville the early part of October. It was on a Friday to have a meeting with Newfoundland Clam Farms. And unfortunately, when we got to the meeting, it appeared that everything was off the table. We spent 2 hours, and I'd say a good hour of it was going over, hashing over things in the past, and we didn't come there for that. And quite explicitly, I said, you know, if we can't forget what went on previously, then there's no sense in moving forward. And as we put each one of those issues on the table, it appeared that the company was not prepared to let an independent individual do any research and development analysis from 1999 onward. They didn't want us to have anybody independently go in and do an analysis of the biomass. And at the end of the day, we basically said, well, this was going nowhere. And we both came back, myself and the town manager attended. We did up a 3-page report to both council and the BDDB, a joint report. And at that time, we basically stated that at this point in time, we felt that there was no need of meeting with Newfoundland Clam Farms again. If they had the wherewithal to move the initiative forward on their own without support from council and the BDDB, period, then let them go on with it. However, we weren't going to support the initiative just based on that situation. So at this point in time, we've pretty well washed our hands of the situation. We felt that we were going to get some cooperation. And I will say, Marie, you know, we have gone to the table every time these companies come back to us and said, can we have another meeting? Can we have another meeting? We've attended. We've been there with you know, open minds. We haven't, you know, we haven't shunned. We think there's some potential there, not necessarily for full commercial development. Maybe it's a tourism perspective we might want to look at. We don't know. But a lot of people are saying the resource, there's something happening with the resource there. And at this point in time, we basically decided, both, I'm not going to speak for council, but I know I attended the council meeting, both our board and council ratified that report and the recommendations in the report, and we're basically going to move forward on our own.
Okay. It's probably a good thing, because it's like almost like beating a dead horse. Your tourism dinner.
Yeah, we've, as you're well aware, for the last year we've had a fairly active tourism committee who've been involved in a number of initiatives within the community promoting tourism. And of course, one of the major focal points that we've been planning for the last number of months is actually a tourism dinner. It's scheduled right now for November the 23rd at the Fire Hall. We have confirmation from the Minister of Tourism, Culture and Recreation at this point in time that he will be attending and be our guest speaker. We've also invited the chairman from the Festival Coast Tourism Association to be in attendance and of course bring greetings, as well as a number of other dignitaries. Our MHA, the Minister of Justice, will be there and speak as well. We're really going to try that night to highlight Burgeo and the region as a tourism destination point, and basically it's an opportunity for people directly and indirectly involved with the tourism industry in this community to kind of rub shoulders with people that they got a lot of say in what happens in tourism here in terms of promotion and infrastructure development. So we're really excited about it. Members of our tourism committee have tickets available to the general public, and right now we've got about, I think it is approximately 100 tickets available. However, we can add to that if the demand is there for it. So we're really at this point trying to put the tourism sector in the forefront. And the committee certainly over the course of last year has done a major amount of work in terms of other initiatives related to tourism, and I think the committee is only going to get stronger and better, and hopefully we can get the support of businesses and others within the community to assist us in moving that initiative forward.
Okay. Our greenhouse.
Yeah, as everybody is well aware, we're right in the middle of the pre-commercial. We're expecting the facility to be here by the latter part of November, and of course from that point in time a lot of work, prep work is being done right now, so we feel that by the latter part of December we'll have a full-fledged structure up there, and it looks right now that hopefully we will be on schedule for planting the latter part of January. In relationship to that, I guess most people are aware that we've kept a fairly low profile for the last couple of years in regards to this new industry in the province. However, we felt it was time that to get the name out there and expose the company to what's really happening, especially now that they've been in the marketplace for 2 years. The results have been more than satisfactory, I should say, to say the least, and nothing but good things have been said about the company and its product and what's happening. So on November the 9th, we're inviting all of the general public. There will be a major press conference, again at the Fire Hall. It'll begin at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Our MP, Mr. Bill Matthews, will be the guest speaker that afternoon, as well as our minister will be there as well to greeting some representatives from industry, trade and rural development, as well as ACOA and other agencies that have been involved in this. And we're hoping that we can garner a fair amount of press coverage from this initiative. The reason why we did it now is because we're towards the end of this full season. The company will still have product available, and they're going to have a host of different things that afternoon for people to try, from salsas to chow chow. So it should be a half-decent afternoon, I think. And we want to basically get the word of the company, expose the company to the outside, because next year they'll have that much more product, and hopefully we'll have retailers basically looking for the product, and it's a good kickoff for us to do this at this point in time. And like I say, we've kept a low profile for long enough that it's time we move forward. And actually this weekend we'll be attending the Rural Expo in Gander, which the company will be right at the forefront. We have promotional brochures developed now and other promotional material that'll actually finally get out to the general public, and hopefully at those meetings as well, we're planning a meeting with a couple of retailers who we know will be there at the same time. So we're looking at drumming up business for the company, and we think it'll be very positive at the end of the day.
Well, it sounds very exciting. Next on our agenda is meeting with the town council, new town council.
Yeah, with the elections, I guess on behalf of the board, I congratulate the new town council on their election, and certainly everybody that ran. It's certainly nice to see for a change. There was a comment made that this is the first time in a long time, not only in Burgeo, but a lot of communities in the island, that there was municipal elections. So it's good to see that people are becoming really interested in the future and the needs of their communities and volunteering their services. But as a board, we felt that with a number of new members on council, it was time to get together, discuss things that have happened in the past in regards to the relationship between council and board. And of course, what we did is also give council a, hopefully they felt a good overview of the various initiatives and activities being undertaken by the Burgeo Diversification Development Board. And I think at the end of the night, everybody would agree that the session was very informative. It was very open and frank discussion about the initiatives that are moving forward, you know, where we can expect a good working relationship. And we do have a half-decent relationship in terms of working, and at times things get a little muddled and that kind of stuff. But that's normal. I mean, if people don't have a difference of opinion, as the mayor stated, then there's something wrong with the whole process. You just hope at the end of the day you're all on the same page, and really that was the whole purpose of the meeting, to make sure council was aware of what we were doing and the initiatives we were involved in. And then, of course, at the same time, our board got to get to meet officially the new council and just find out where some of their priorities and activities were. So I think it was a very good meeting overall, and we'll continue the lines of communication. As people are probably aware, I do meet with council on a monthly basis in chambers and discuss our initiatives and give them updates as best I can. Sometimes it feels like there is a lack of communication, but when you're developing business initiatives, there's only so much information anybody can put on the table. And council did mention the other night, you know, if it gets to the point where they question an initiative, then we can certainly have what they call a privilege meeting, whereby I can update them on additional information that not necessarily would be given to the general public. Because as with Coastal Growers, for example, there's people out there watching. And if you put too much information on the table, you're actually setting up somebody else in business that you've worked right from the ground to put in place. And there's always a risk of doing that. So we're very cautious what information and how much information we put out, both technical and from a business perspective as well. So the meeting went extremely well, and both the board and council seemed to be very pleased with it at the end of the day.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that's it. Again, like I've done every now and then, I'll just say that you know, our board's here for the residents of this community. If there's any individuals that need business assistance or have even community development ideas that they might want to bring forward, then please feel free. Our door is pretty well open all the time, and I try to accommodate people as they come in. Sometimes it's a little difficult, but even if it's so simple as somebody might have an idea to enhance the community, then certainly we're open to it. We are right now moving forward in terms of a number of initiatives, albeit because of the on and off strike with HRDC. A lot of things have slowed down a little bit in terms of moving projects forward, but we do have a number in the system, such as the upgrading the museum. Aaron's Arms should be starting hopefully pretty soon, and of course we've got another one in for the ground search and rescue. So we do work with different organizations as well. People that know me, you know when they come in with an idea, I'll be very frank with them and say, listen, this is either going to fly or I don't think it will. And if it is, then we'll provide as much assistance as we can to move it forward. So it doesn't have to be a total community-based. If an organization within the community has an idea, they come in, sit down, talk about it, and we'll certainly help develop the proposal and get it in the system to work it forward for them.
Okay, well, we certainly thank you for joining us today.
And thanks for having me again.
Okay, welcome. The grade 2 students came by our studio on Wednesday of this week to do some Halloween safety tips for Pansy's Garden. This has been a tradition BBS has done for many years, and this year has been no different. 18 eager students, Mrs. Tucker and Mrs. Ann, came to our studio dressed in their costumes, ready to get to work. These students were well behaved as each group presented their safety tips. They were eager to learn how the filming was done. These safety tips were included as part of Pansy's Garden, which aired on Saturday, October the 28th, and will be rebroadcast on Tuesday, October the 30th. We would like to thank Mrs. Tucker's grade 2 class for a job well done, and in keeping with tradition, the students always like to wish everyone a happy Halloween. Ladies and gentlemen, the grade 2 class.
Happy Halloween! Hello, Mom and Dad.
Stay with us for Off the Rack, the community events, and the BBS Playbill, all after this.
Haunted by her own experiences during the war, Dr. Lotta Hitchmanova started USC Canada to reach out to those in need. USC is working hand in hand with villagers in Africa and Asia to help them find long-term solutions to their problems. Tomorrow begins today with your pledge. I'm Bruce Coburn for USC Canada, 56 Sparks Street, Ottawa.
Off the Rack. This week, as we scanned our tape rack, we came across a tape of A.J. Matthews Elementary and Primary School costume walk. Let's look back to October 27, 1991.
Good evening and welcome to the community event segment of tonight's broadcast. I'm Jennifer Marks. The winners of the Burgeo Lions TV Bingo were Teresa Sims, Elizabeth Damney, and Jocelyn Anderson. Congratulations to you all. There are still tables available for the Brunettes Flea Market on Saturday, October 10th at the Fire Hall. If you are interested in booking a table, please call Debbie at 886-2839 or Alice at 886-2708. The Burgeo Library will be selling tickets on a basket of towels and a complete turkey dinner. There will be 2 draws. Tickets cost $1 each or 3 for $2 and are available from the Sears office or from any member of the library board or at the library. The drawing date will be on December 14th. To help make the Lions annual Santa Claus Parade a success, the Lions are asking every business and organization of our community to please take part in the parade by entering a float or making a donation towards the goodie bags for our children. A Lions Club member will be visiting organizations and businesses during the last week in November. Please consider making a donation to help with the Santa Claus Parade. For more information, you can contact Jim at 886-2449 or Roger at 886-2218. Let's all work together to make this year's Santa Claus Parade bigger and better than ever. If your organization has an upcoming event planned, we'll be happy to advertise it for you. Just call the BBS office by Wednesdays of each week to have items included in this portion of our broadcast. That concludes the community event segment of tonight's broadcast. See you next week.
BBS Playbill. Tune in on Tuesday for a rebroadcast of Pansy's Garden. Tune in on Thursday when we'll have a rebroadcast of entertainment from the Sand and Sea Festival with the Royce and Drake Band. And I'll be here again in 2 weeks' time with This Week in Review. Next week I'll be on holidays, and our next news broadcast will be on Sunday, November the 11th. Before we go this evening, we have a reminder from the fire department. They are reminding everyone to replace the batteries in their smoke detector. Please stay tuned now for entertainment from the Sand and Sea Festival with the Drake and Royce Band. For This Week in Review, I'm Marie Rose. Good night and God bless.